Joining us this morning is former CIA Officer Gary Berntsen. Gary, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning.
How does the administration get a handle on this situation? What do you think are next steps?
Well, I think that I would refer people to an article yesterday that came out in the Washington Free Beacon, where they are discussing that members of the Obama National Security Council, led by Ben Rhodes, the former deputy, organized a team of people to attack Flynn and to set up sort of a comms infrastructure. So it's kind of interesting that you have the former Obama National Security team doing a handoff and at the same time building infrastructure to attack the man that's going to replace them. General Flynn has admitted that he made a mistake. There's been no violation of law. Other administrations have had individuals that have talked to other governments, in the process and in the transition. He made a mistake, but he hasn't violated any law. But the people that may have violated the law were people that leaked the intercepts that were between General Flynn and the Russian ambassador.
Right.
That is a clear violation of law. And if Senator Schumer wants to investigate, that's the best place to start.
Yeah, that's exactly what we were saying yesterday, because the fact is there is some leak in the intelligence community, Dagan. The intelligence community is undermining Donald Trump. How is it possible that the Washington Post knew exactly what went on in the Michael Flynn conversation with his Russian counterpart?
It's astonishing and frightening beyond words and beyond description. And it's something that the Wall Street Journal editorial page does point out today, to tell readers how rare it is for intercepts involving private U.S. citizens to not only be leaked, but apparently myriad people in Washington had read these transcripts. I mean, it goes against all protections of U.S. citizens. And the fact that Michael Flynn could have been targeted by members of the intelligence community for whatever reason, the journals suggest that if Trump there need to be, the FISA warrants need to be disclosed in any committee hearings, and that Trump should release these transcripts, assuming that they don't harm anybody.
How come they still work there, do you think? I mean, how come so many former Obama intelligence officers still work now in the Trump administration?
Gary,
the swamp. Gary, what do you think about that? And
Maria,
I just want to point out a story.
Can I jump in?
Yeah, I just want to point out one story that we reported last week on the heels of great reporting by the Daily Caller, and that is 3 IT specialists were fired last Thursday from the State Department because they accessed computers that they were unauthorized to do so. And now they haven't been arrested yet because people are saying there could be much bigger charges, treason and terrorism ties for those 3. These are 3 IT specialists that were making $165,000 apiece, and they were like 20 years old, 21 years old. Go ahead, Gary.
Maria, let me just say this. Historically, it's not the intel community that leaks, because all of our officers are polygraphed and interrogated on a regular basis on contacts with the press. It's usually the politicos at the White House, at the NSC, or at the Congress where you have leaks. It's not the community usually. Of course, they're community products, but those products, those intel products, get distributed among a number of players in Washington, D.C. who are not members of the community, that for other reasons get that, and they're the people that have regular contacts with media. In a 25-year career in the CIA, I met a journalist once, on an operation out there, and didn't, devolve who I was. But the point is we stay away from journalists.
Yeah,
as you well should.
Yeah.
But Gary, it's Steve here. I just wanted to see what you think about something that's been said and rings true to me, which is that actually, in a way, it's worse than a leak. That word doesn't quite do justice to it, because what's really going on here is an effort to undermine not just Flynn personally, but the policy that he represented.
Yes.
In fact, the policy of the elected government.
Right.
And
yes, you're exactly correct.
And so does that show that when we talk about the intelligence agencies and that community in a sort of general way, but does it show that a particular part of it has gone rogue and is trying to upset the policy of the elected administration? Or what does it really say about what's going on?
Let me say what's happened is this. After 8 years in the Obama administration, a number of individuals who came in as political appointees have shifted over to career status. And so, therefore, it's going to be very, very difficult to get rid of them. And they may be fundamentally, in their hearts opposed to this administration, and may be leaking to the former people that brought them in, took care of them, and sort of brought their careers along. So a number of Obama people from the left are now career members and have made that transition from political appointees to career, and they're going to have to send them over to National Defense University to get rid of them from these agencies.
Wow. Well, it's not just Flynn, right? Sources tell Fox News that a broader investigation into the Trump campaign ties to Russia is ongoing. It includes other individuals close to the president, one of whom is former cabinet campaign chief Paul Manafort. What about that?
Look, the fact is there were individuals that were in the campaign that have worked, and many campaign people work around the world. The fact that some of these individuals worked in Eastern Europe, it makes it politically sensitive and difficult, and I think that the Trump administration was wise to distance themselves from people that were on the ground in Eastern Europe running these campaigns, because you know, there's corruption going on. Look, I know people that have managed campaigns out there. I know one guy was a deputy campaign manager. When they lost the campaign, the campaign manager was murdered. You know, so these are the types of campaigns that, you know, that most Americans should stay away from.
Gary, this is Mitch. Is this potentially, in the first few weeks of the administration, a bit of a PR nightmare for especially when it's Russia that's on the table?
Yeah, look, the administration's going to have to lick its wounds on this one, you know, with Trump. With General Flynn, move on. They'll find, you know, someone else who's competent. Look, they've got KT who's in there that's very competent, KT McFarland. They've got Kellogg. The thing that the National Security Council is supposed to be doing right now in its first 120 days is drafting a national security strategy for the country. They're mandated under law to get this done in the first 120 days. Once that's done, then the Pentagon can write a national military strategy, and then the Congress can go ahead and start budgeting for our national security plans for the country. That's what they need to get down to work on. So all of this other stuff is noise right now. They got to get that NSS, National Security Strategy, drafted. And it's a legal requirement that the Obama administration only did 2 out of the 8 years it was in power. But
how concerning is this? Are we going to have 4 years of this where you're going to have all of this undermining of the Trump administration?
Well, look, he doesn't have his team in place right now, so, you know, he's operating at a disadvantage, the president.
And just in terms of noise, I would just like to point out that both Nancy Pelosi and Elijah Cummings publicly fell for a fake Twitter account that they attributed to Michael Flynn, and actually quoted it in front of cameras with Nancy Pelosi going, "Scapegoat." And it was a fake Twitter account that they had to then...
When did they finally figure out that it was actually...
It was like within, I think, within 24 hours.
Because I saw her up at the podium doing like a press conference.
Scapegoat, that was one of the words in the tweet. It was a fake tweet, Congresswoman.
Oh, my God. Gary, thank you so much, sir. Appreciate you joining us this morning. Gary Berntsen there.